ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಓಂ ಅಖಂಡಾನಂದ ಸಂಬೋಧಃ ಬಂಧನಾತ್ ಯಸ್ಯ ಜಾಯತೆ ಗೋವಿಂದಂ ತಮಹಂ ವಂದೇ ಚಿದಾನಂದ ತನುಂ ಗುರುಂ. So yesterday we were seeing about this jnana karma samuccaya. That is where I left you. So during this discussion of jnana karma samuccaya, this is where it starts and it ends at 205th shloka. Okay, we are in 173, 204th shloka, 5th shloka at the end. 204th here in this R numbering actually. Let it be, whatever it is. So, jnana karma samuccaya. What is jnana karma samuccaya? Combination. Samuccaya means combination. Combination of knowledge and karma. That is what it means. So, wherever there is this possibility of jnana karma samuccaya, Bhagavan negates it Bhagavan Bhashyakara negates it in every place in the Bhashya. And with regard to that, he also says, Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdhe. In Vivekachudamani, he says, for the purification of mind, the karma is useful, not for gaining the self. So, here he is presenting two kinds of possibilities of combining the knowledge with action, karma. What are the two possibilities? Before understanding this, let us go to the schools. In schools, we used to, in lower classes, we used to have two exams, 50 marks each. One is you have to say some poem. The second is you have to recite some poem. The second is you have to write ABCD, etc., whatever it is. So 50 mark each. You have to recite and you have to write. 50 marks each. This is what we used to do it. And in some places they have this 50 marks for English prose and poetry kind of. They have prose and grammar or poetry or something like that. Anyway, first paper, second paper, etc. This is 50 marks. Now, the second, meaning both are equally important. That is the first kind of combination. The second kind of combination is both are not equally important. Like during our high school, the final school exams, we used to have two papers. One is theory, the other is practical. Theory carries 150 marks. Practical carries 50 marks. 150 plus 50, 200 marks. For 200 marks, you have to write. So now here, theory is important, practical is not important. See, if you are able to score 150, you don't even need to, or 150 or 70 was the pass mark. If you are able to score 70 or 80 or whatever, with the theory, you don't even have to think about writing the practicals. You have to write if you want to have 200 marks complete. You don't have to worry about the practicals actually. But if you want to have full mark, the practical is important. It pushes up. Or if you want to pass, 50 mark plus 20 mark, enough. You will pass. Right? So, that is what he says. There are two kinds of jnana karma combinations possible. One is jnana karma equally important. Like the example we say, hastavat, like clapping of two hands or using two hands for doing things. Like knitting, etc., you need two hands. The equally important. Left is equally important as right. Similarly, in the other example, the theory, knowledge is important. Practical karma is not important, but it pushes, it aids the knowledge. He gives a different example for that. We'll come to that. First, we have to understand what jnana and karma combination is. So I explained that. Mumukṣorapi karmāstu śravaṇaṃ cāpi sādhanam hastavat dvayametasya svakāryaṃ sādhayiṣyati. He says, mumukṣoho api karmāstu sādhanam, karmāstu śravaṇaṃ cāpi sādhanam hastavat dvayametasya svakāryaṃ sādhayiṣyati. We said mumukṣo api, even for the mumukshu, karma śravaṇaṃ cāpi sādhanam astu. Both karma and śravana, both let it be sadhana. Means we have to understand this. Only when we give up the karmas, we are eligible for moksha. But even for giving up karmas, we first have to have performed the karmas to give up. How do we know we have performed? Maybe I performed in my past life. What's a good logic? Yes, there is no doubt about it. But we know how dirty the mind is. We can say, oh, I am the perfect adhikari. We can say all that. But what are the kama and krodha we have in our mind? We know. We don't need to ask anyone. So until that kind of kama, krodha, etc. exists in your mind, until you don't have the viveka vairagya, the sadhana, you have to do karma. There is no escape from karma till that. Until you gain this sadhana chatushtaya, you have to perform the karmas properly. No questions. Once that is gained, whether you perform the karma or not does not really matter actually. Then thereafter, there's no point in worrying about the karma. So, hastadvayavat, that is why he said, hastavat dvayametasya, like two hands aiding each other to do the job perfectly. Similarly, svakāryaṃ sādhayiṣyati. These two, karma and knowledge, combining with each other, being important in both like hands, both hands, being equally important. That's the key word here for the first example. Okay, being equally important, they accomplish the result, sadhyam, whatever is the goal, the moksha. Okay, now it is the second example for the second kind of a combination, which is a 150-50, right? vijṛmbhate dīpo yathā vijṛmbhate dīpah ṛjūkaraṇakarmaṇā tathā śravaṇajo bodhaḥ puṃso vihitakarmaṇā yathā vijṛmbhate dīpah ṛjūkaraṇakarmaṇā tathā śravaṇajo bodhaḥ puṃso vihitakarmaṇā. Beautiful. Yathā ṛjūkaraṇakarmaṇā dīpah vijṛmbhate, like ṛjūkaraṇakarmaṇā, karmana, through the act. What kind of act? Ṛjūkaraṇa means, see, you have a lamp. The lamp is burning. You have oil there. But after some time, what happens? The lamp slowly goes off. The oil is there, the wick is there, but still, what happened? The top portion of the wick, it got burnt. So it becomes black and it gets burnt and it gets extinguished. So what we do is we use this small tweezer and pull the wick a little bit, and then pull the wick little bit and then remove that black head from that wick. Now the light is even more. Understand this example, right? The example, what does it show? There is lamp and there is this act of using the tweezer to pull up the wick. What is the knowledge and karma combination here? That is what is the beauty of this example. Okay. What is that which removes the darkness? Understand the question. What is that which removes the darkness? The light, the illumination, the light. B, the act of pulling up the wick using the tweezer. Of course, it is only the light which removes the darkness. The pulling up of the wick using a tweezer makes it more bright. That's all. That is what he says here. You understand? So, vijṛmbhate dīpah, like the dīpah, the lamp shines even more brighter after performing this act of pulling up the wick. Similarly, similarly, śravaṇajo bodhaḥ puṃso vihitakarmaṇā. Through the vihitakarma, the śravaṇajo bodhaḥ, the knowledge gained through the śravaṇajo, born out of śravana, also becomes brighter. So the karma aids the knowledge to even shine brighter. That is the idea. Okay. Now he is bringing both in this third final shloka. ataḥ sāpekṣitaṃ jñānam mathavāpi samuccitam mokṣasya sādhanam iti vadanti brahmavādinaḥ. Sāpekṣitaṃ, dependent, samuccitam, combined. Whether you accept it to be dependent, ataḥ sāpekṣitaṃ jñānam athava api samuccitam mokṣasya sādhanam iti vadanti brahmavādinaḥ. ataḥ sāpekṣitaṃ athava api samuccitam jñānam. Whether you accept the dependence for the knowledge or with the karma, or the act of associating, combining both knowledge and karma, whichever. Sāpekṣitaṃ, dependent on karma, and samuccitam, combining with karma. So whether you make the jnana predominant and more predominant and less predominant karma, or you accept them to be equally predominant, whichever way, mokṣasya sādhanamiti brahmavādinaḥ vadanti. They are both accepted to be means for moksha by who? Brahmavādinaḥ, by people who know the Brahman. Why did I say that? So he says, I also already said, among the 5 siddhis, Ishta Siddhi is one text written by Mandana Mishra Acharya, where Mandana Mishra, he very clearly says the knowledge and karma go hand in hand to gain the liberation. That is not what is accepted by us. Okay, so that is where it became very diluted and it lost its importance. So we have 2 schools. One is equally important, the other is dependent. So both are not acceptable for us. So for that he says, mumukṣoryujyate tyāgaḥ kathaṃ vihitakarmaṇaḥ iti śaṅkā na kartavyā mūಢavat panditottamaihi. So they are negated in the first instance. First shloka he says, mumukṣoho yujyate tyāgaḥ kathaṃ vihitakarmaṇaḥ iti śaṅkā na kartavyā mūಢavat panditottamaihi. mumukṣoho vihitakarmaṇaḥ kathaṃ yujyate tyāgaḥ kathaṃ yujyate iti mūಢavat panditottamaihi śaṅkā na kartavyā. He says, mumukṣoho, for the mukshu, for the one who is desiring the liberation, for him, vihitakarmaṇaḥ tyāgaḥ, giving up of the, renouncing the prescribed act, the daily rituals and the occasional rituals. Kathaṃ yujyate, how is it possible? How can you prescribe the renunciation of the prescribed karmas? Iti, in this way, mūಢavat, like an idiot, panditottamaihi, you being a very smart person, śaṅkā na kartavyā, should not doubt. You called me idiot. Oh, I also called you panditottama, smart person. Oxymoron. You called me idiot and you called me intelligent also. How can that be? Yes, I called you intelligent because you also knew that the Brahmavadins say that. There are people in the Vedanta who say that. So you are a smart person. But I called you idiot because you want to accept association with karma. That is why I called you mūಢavat, idiot. But still, how can that be? I am not calling just you idiot. Even the person who prescribed it, he is also idiot. Whoever it is. How can you call him to be idiot? Okay, I'll explain why I called you idiot and him also. He says, karmana phalam anyat tu śravaṇasya phalam prasak vailakṣanyam ca sāmagriyoscha ubhayatrādhikārinoh. Karmanaḥ phalam anyat tu śravaṇasya phalam prasak vailakṣanyam ca sāmagriyoscha ubhayatra adhikārinoh. Karmanaḥ phalam anyat śravaṇasya tu phalam prasak. Karma's result is different, whereas the Shravana's result is different. The result you gain through the karma is different. If the result you gain through the jnana is different. Okay. Now, phalam prasak ubhayatra, and in both places, sāmagriyoscha adhikarinoscha vailakṣanyam. They, among the samagris, the means, and the adhikari, the person who is desiring it, the seeker, eligible seeker, they are also different. Meaning, everywhere there is a trinity of knower, knowing, and known, the object. Okay. Similarly, here also the difference is there in the result, the object, phalam, and the means, samagri, and the knower, the person who is the eligible seeker. So in 3 levels, there is difference. How is it different in 3 levels? First, he talks about the adhikari, the eligible seeker. From me, he starts. How am I eligible? What is that? I am the same person who is going to desire the liberation, or I am the same person who is going to desire the swarga, heaven, etc. How am I different? For that he says, kāmi karmaṇyadhikritaḥ nishkāmi śravane mataḥ arthi samartha ityādi lakshanam karmino matam parikṣalokan ityādi lakshanam mokṣakāṅśhiнаḥ moksha adhikari sannyasi grasthakyala karmanaḥ. Karmani is distinguishing both. Karmani, kāmi karmani adhikritaḥ nishkāmi śravane mataḥ arthi samarthi ityādi lakshanam karmino matam parikṣalokan ityādi lakshanam mokṣakāṅśhiнаḥ moksha adhikari sannyasi grastha kila karmani. Now, before understanding, we have to understand. I'll explain it in different ways before going to this. Purvamimamsa, the Karma Kanda, has these sutras called Purvamimamsa Sutra, Mimamsa Sutra. The first sutra is Athato Dharma Jñāsa, Atha, Ataḥ, Atha, Dharma Jñāsa. Okay, that's Purvamimamsa Sutra. Uttamimamsa, Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra is first sutra is Athato Brahma Jñāsa. Okay, there atha, here also atha. There atha, here also atha. There jñāsa, here also jñāsa. But the difference is the adjective. There dharma jñāsa, here brahma jñāsa. Same. Then why do you say they are different? Let us say. Atha means thereafter this person, hereafter this person, what should he do? Dharma jñāsa, he has to desire for knowing the dharma. Thereafter, this person should desire to know the Brahman. Same person. What's the difference here? Now the difference lies when we say hereafter, atha, hereafter or thereafter. What does that mean? Hereafter, after studying the Vedas, this person should desire to know the dharma. That is what the thereafter means. Here, after gaining the Viveka Vairagya, not studying Vedanta, Vedas, after gaining the Viveka and Vairagya, thereafter, this person should study the Brahma, to desire to know the Brahman. This is the difference. So there, the basic prerequisite is he should have studied the Vedas. Here, the basic prerequisite is he should have the Viveka and Vairagya. Okay. So now, come to this. Kāmi karmani adhikritaḥ nishkāmi śravane mataḥ. For the karma, one who has desires, kāmi, kāmaha, yasmin, yasyava asti iti kāmi. Kama in one or for whom exists. Kama exists for whom or kama exists in whom. That is who is kāmi. Kama, desire or lust, whatever it may be. So, desire also is kama. Okay, so desire in whom or for whom exists is what is kāmi. So for the karma, he has to have association with desire. Okay, and for Shravana, for Vedanta, nishkāmi is accepted to be adhikari. There he should have to have desire. Here he should be desireless. Okay, that is the first in the. Second is arthi samartha ityādi lakshanam karmino matam parikṣalokan ityādi lakshanam mokṣakāṅśhiнаḥ. Arthi samartha. Arthi samartha. Arthi means he should be having wealth. Arthayasya asti iti arthi. One who has wealth. He should have to have money. Then samartha. Just money is not that with which you can do karma. You have to be samartha. You have to be eligible. What is the eligibility? We said, Jataputra Krishna Keshi Agnin Adadita. So he should have to have a wife, through which wife he should have to have a son. And while he has a son, his hair should be black, not white. That person should receive the fire initiation. Okay. Now, with that fire, he has to do the fire oblations. Okay. So, that is why we said that yagasya dve rupe dve dravyam devatacha. For a yaga, there are two. For a fire oblation, there are two important things. One is dravya, the other is devata. The dravya means wealth. He should have to have wealth, and devata, the deity. Only wealth, you who have not invited the deity, there is no point. Only deity you have invited, you don't have wealth, you don't have something to feed for the deity, that is also not, there is no point. So you have to have both. So he should have to have wealth, and he should have to have eligibility also. Samartha. That is what is the requisite for karma in the adhikari. But whereas parikshalokan, etc., is the statement which establishes the eligibility of the seeker, spiritual seeker, moksha. What is that? Parikshalokan Mundakopanishad. Parikshalokan karmachatan brahmano nirveda mayat nastya krita krutena sa gurumeva bhigachet shrotriyam brahmanishtam samitpani hesan. We have seen this shloka in bits and pieces. What does this shloka say? Parikshalokan, lokan pariksha, after inquiring the world. After inquiring into the world, after properly examining the world. Brahmanaha, this seeker, nirveda maya, should gain the vairagya. After inquiring, meaning after having gained the viveka, this person should gain the vairagya. How will he gain the vairagya? By inquiring. Nastya kritakradena iti. There is nothing, there is no act through which you can gain the absolute. That which is not an act, that which is not a product of any karma, cannot be gained through any karma. So this knowledge he gains. After gaining that, what should he have to do? So gurumeva bhigachet, he has to go to only the guru. What kind of guru? Shrotriyam Paramishtam, a person who has studied in the tradition, on who is established in what he has studied. Samitpani, he should not go empty hand. We have seen that in the first first shloka itself. So he should have to take some samit. Samit means a twig, which is pradesha. This is the size called pradesha. Okay. So it should have to be pradesha, and he should have to have a kind of a feet or something. Okay. And he should have, it should be of the thickness of thumb. Those twigs are called as a samit. So something like a fruit or something, whatever whatever will be useful for the guru, he should have to carry that. Samit pani to the guru. So that is what he says, parikshalokan ityadi. Okay. So the eligible seeker is different. In the first, here he has desires. There he does not have desire. Second, here he has to have desire and he has to have wealth, etc. And there he should have to have discrimination and dispassion, etc. Now, third, moksha adhikaris and nyasi grihastha kila karmani. For the moksha, the eligible seeker is a sannyasi, renunciate. And for the karma, a grihastha is what? Who is eligible. You have to understand that also. Now, the sannyasi is only eligible for moksha. He is not eligible for karma. Whereas the grihastha, the householder, is eligible for the karmas. Also, as well as by performing the karma, he can elevate him and he can gain the interest in Vedanta, in the moksha also. He is eligible for that also. Slowly, after gaining the chitta shuddhi, he can renounce the karmas and he can be established in that also. That is possibility. Now, these are the differences. Then he says, again with respect to the samagri, the means. Karmana sādhanam bhārya sruksruvādi parigraha naiva anya sadhanapeksha shushrushosthu gurum vina. कर्मणः साधनं भार्या श्रुक श्रुवादि परिग्रहः नैव अन्य साधनापेक्षा शुश्रूषोस्तु गुरुं विना. कर्मणः साधनम, the means for the karma is bharya, wife. Sruk sruva, sruk is a ladle with which you take the fire oblation material like the clarified butter, ghee etc. and throw it in the fire. A small ladle, that is called a sruk. And sruva is another kind of ladle which on top of which you put the final fire oblation material and cover it with the sruk and throw it in the fire, not the ladles. You have to throw the fire oblation material into the fire. Now each one has to have their own ladle etc. All the vessels, they have to have their own personal vessels. You cannot share it with another, you should not share it with another. What happens is, in the final time, at the death point, these oblation instruments which you used, they are all kept in different parts of body and you are burnt along with it. That is how it used to be done. Now no one knows about it. No one does. So there is no one who has their own, therefore no one does it. So sirksruvadi, you have to have wife, kid etc. You have to have these materials. That is what association, having attachment to them, is what is the means for performing karmas. Whereas naiva sadhana apeksha asti, there is no expectancy for any kind of sadhana for knowledge. Yes, we have something. What is that? Shushushosthu gurum vina. Guru shushushosthu vina. There is other than serving the guru, there is no other sadhana. Oh, you added that also. No, this is what is the tradition. That is what Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita says. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaः. So a person who desires the knowledge, what he has to do is he has to go to the guru. Pranipatena, he has to fall on his feet like a flat prakrishta nipata, like a flat wood, meaning complete, he has to fall flat on the ground, meaning he has to surrender himself completely. The namaskara which we do is just a representation of the surrender which you show. You lose your identity. Until you don't lose your identity, the individuality, you cannot become one with the absolute. You cannot gain the identity with the absolute. So that is why this pranipata is important. Okay, then pariprashnena, the second is we have to ask questions not related with what he is teaching. Questions related with the teaching is called as pariprashna, paritaha prashna. After that he have to ask question, meaning with relation to what he taught you. Sevaya, through the service. Then upadekshanti te jnanam, then they will teach you the knowledge. And there is no compulsion that we have to teach it. No, there is no compulsion. They can take all the service you do and they can say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in answering you, or I don't know the answer. They can say both. If they don't know, they can say that also. So here shushushosthu gurum vina, other than this, you have nothing to do with karma. We'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.